Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. First of all, let me thank you for being here today. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is EFL teachers' perspectives and use of HOTs. HOTs stands for Higher Order Thinking Skills. My name is Carolina Reyes Galindo, and my partner is Oscar Manuel Narváez Trejo. This is part of an MA undergraduate research project, and it derivates from a larger project between research groups from the different universities here in Mexico. This project aims at discovering the role of HOTs in the school program. Most of the literature done on HOTs comes from Indonesia, and most of the researchers and experts say that in this ever-changing and demanding world, the students at all levels of education need to develop their critical thinking system, decision-making skills, and problem-solving abilities. It is equally important that students learn to connect and communicate with other people, as well as to learn how to apply the knowledge acquired in the classroom to new contexts. Therefore, the efforts to improve educational systems and curricula should not be isolated from the diverse and demanding requirements of the 21st century needs. These 21st century needs can be divided into two key components: abstract abilities linked to thinking abilities, and practical abilities, communication and collaboration. Several scholars have grouped these skills under the umbrella term of higher order thinking skills. These researchers also say that teachers need to engage learners to accelerate their HOTs during class activities. However, in Mexico, there is little research done on HOTs, especially in EFL context. This is why this study aimed at discovering what are English teachers' knowledge and strategies on HOTs. Well, there are two main research questions that guided this study. The first one, how do EFL teachers conceptualize HOTs? And how do EFL teachers implement strategies and techniques to develop HOTs in their lessons? The objectives that guided this study were to identify teachers' understanding of HOTs and to find out teachers' strategies and techniques used to promote HOTs when teaching English. Now, the context. Well, the context of this study was an MA in EFL program. This program is recognized by CANACID since 2011, and it was decided to carry out the study in this context because the program accepted 20 English teachers every year. Therefore, those 20 teachers were chosen to be part of this study. Apart from being part of the program, this case study included the following selection criteria. The participants have to be working at the moment of the research and have more than 1 year of experience. Additionally, the participants had to have a BA at the moment of the study, and their ages range from 22 to 40. Now my partner is going to continue with the presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Caro. Now, continuing with this presentation, you can see a representation of Bloom's taxonomy and the verbs usually associated with the taxonomy. And remember that Bloom's taxonomy was used or has been used in order to develop learning objectives. Well, in the past they were learning objectives. Now people are talking about competences. But the point here is you can see in the illustration how they move from the bottom or lower level skills or lower order uh, skills or lots. They move forward to the higher order thinking skills. And as you can see, the first one is called knowledge, which basically involves remembering previously learned information, or what people usually also refer to as rote learning or memorizing. The second set is called comprehension, in which learners can demonstrate an understanding of the fact. So there you can see the list of verbs which relate to classifying and etc. So they can memorize information, but they can demonstrate an understanding of what they have learned. Okay, then they move on to the what Bloom called application, the level of application, in which learners are supposed to apply knowledge to actual situations. Okay, so you can see the list of verbs with apply, change, choose, compute, demonstrate, discover, etc., etc., etc. The following step, the following set is called analysis, which in which learners break down objects or ideas into simpler parts and find evidence to support generalizations. Okay. Then now in the higher order thinking skills, it's synthesis and evaluation. Regarding the synthesis skill, the students compile components, ideas into a new whole or purpose or propose alternative solutions to a problem. And the last one, the higher order thinking skill, is called evaluation, in which learners make and defend judgments based on internal evidence or external criteria. You can see the lower order thinking skills or lots and higher order thinking skills, and the verbs in the bulb which can be used precisely to design learning objectives or competences. The study that we carried out can be defined as a sequential explanatory mixed method case study following Creswell and Creswell 2018. As you may know, Creswell classifies uh, mixed method research in several types, and one of these is the sequential explanatory method. In this case, this study comprises two phases, the quantitative phase followed by the qualitative phase. In the quantitative phase, we decided to use a survey which we adapted from Wilson and Narasimhan. As you may remember, 20 EFL teachers participated in the study, and they belong to a master's degree program, and as Carolina mentioned, they have different backgrounds, different interests, and different years of experience. The survey comprises 26 Likert scale questions ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree, and the questions are designed to identify academic information, teachers' knowledge of HOTs, the teaching strategies that they are they usually use general perceptions of HOTs and information on their academic training of prior training, how they were formed and related in relation with HOTs. After that, the qualitative phase, we interviewed 10 of those teachers. We had enough information from the survey, so we wanted to pursue further into HOTs by using interviews, by talking to the teachers in order to go deeper into their insight. The interviews lasted about 20 to 25 minutes each. These were later transcribed into Word files in order to be analyzed. For the quantitative phase, because we did it in Google Forms, you know that the Google spreadsheet facilitates the analysis of the data, and for the qualitative data, we use content analysis. Now, moving on, I'm going to present the findings of the study. I have to mention that we were disappointed of the findings, disappointed of the results, because we realized that teachers don't know much about HOTs. As you can see, regarding the teacher's knowledge, the mean score was 2.77, which is low. That means that teachers didn't have any or enough training on HOT, and that teachers now realize the importance of HOTs, but as they didn't know anything about it, they couldn't tell us about how to implement HOTs in the language classroom. This was supported in the other section of the survey regarding teaching strategies, in which the mean score was even lower. So we realized after the analysis of the data that participants do not know how to implement nor have shown interest in learning about it. So they didn't know anything about HOT, and because of that, because they weren't aware of HOTs and the relevance of HOTs in learning, but they didn't worry about studying, which was later corroborated in the following section of teachers' perceptions regarding prior training. Again, a very low score, a very low mean score, which made us realize that they hadn't had any training on HOTs. Therefore, but they now talk about the necessity of incorporating HOTs in current teaching, which means that HOTs training should be incorporated in TEFL education. This is kind of surprising because the government, the educational authorities in Mexico have changed the educational model, and we are supposed to be working on their developing competences and preparing students towards 21st century, regarding 21st century skills, but this means that they haven't received any training on HOTs. They didn't know anything about HOTs. Regarding the qualitative data, the participants of the study seem not to have a broad notion of HOTs, so they didn't know anything really. With the majority of them stated that they lack knowledge and training on HOTs. So they now can tell that they don't know anything and that they wish now they are trained regarding HOTs. So they obviously, because they weren't familiar with the terms with HOTs, they didn't do anything related to that. Neither is to say about research regarding HOTs. We realized that they are not sure about the concepts and techniques related to HOTs, but I think we planted a seed now because they mentioned that they want to learn about HOTs and how to incorporate HOTs into their classes, and that TEFL teacher education programs should include information regarding HOTs into their syllabus. This is what one of the participants say, and you can see clearly how they are unfamiliar with HOTs. So this participant defined HOTs as thinking skills which are cognitively demanding and which need to be trained at school in order to be developed. So after reading and answering the survey, that's how what she mentioned in the interview. And as you can see, participant 3 elaborated and said that she would like to know more about HOTs, as it sounds like an interesting technique proved to be applied in teaching English. So, as I said before, we we were disappointed of the findings of the results of the study, but now after their participation, we believed that we planted this idea of HOTs, and now they are interested in HOTs. And it would be interesting to find out now that after this, their participation in the study, they are more familiar with the concept of HOTs, or if they have devoted some time to investigate about HOTs and how to implement HOTs in English teaching. So you may realize now that in order that our conclusions are not very um, good, very brilliant, because as I mentioned before, we were kind of disappointed of that. So the findings obtained lead us to conclude that the participants in the study lack preparation HOTs, as both sets of data denote lack of understanding and lack of teaching techniques and strategies to promote HOTs. So they don't know anything. However, the participants mentioned they want to learn about how to incorporate HOTs into their classes, and that they need to be prepared in order to become a better teacher, in order to promote these 21st century skills into the teaching program. Therefore, they suggest that teacher education programs take some time and include some some training on HOTs in their syllabus. And, and that's all we wanted to share today with you. As I said before, we are kind of disappointed because we thought we thought they were familiar with the issue of HOTs, but sadly they didn't. And that's all. But as I have mentioned, they are now interested in learning about HOTs, so we may want to convince the authorities of the master's degree program to include some sort of HOTS training, or now that we are re, redesigning the BA degree in English, we may include some information on HOTS, as all the higher education institutions are moving towards the promotion of HOTS. And that's all for we wanted to share. Thank you very much for your attention, and it was nice to see you here, and I hope to see you at the questions session. Thank you very much.